your relationships holds the key to integrating your shadows, because they are what highlights the wound that reminds you of your past hurtful experiences. In this video, we're going to look at how you can leverage that wound so you can get to the root of your suffering and heal it at your core. Hi, my name is Oscar, and I help people raise their vibration and share their gift with the world. And in this video, we're going to look at how you can get to the root of your suffering and heal it at your core. Throughout my life, relationships has always been the key part that has caused me to transform. And I think that is because in a relationship, you are constantly exposed to the other part that is holding a mirror up in front of you. But you need to be very aware of what is going on around that, because most of the time we end up being stuck in blaming and pointing fingers. And that was exactly what happened to me, because I remember it so clearly. I was really stuck in my ways. I was so stuck in my ways that when I met a girlfriend and she started showing me, a new way of cooking, a new way of being, then I started to see that, it was like it really hurt inside of me. I don't know why. I just felt that I couldn't even change my breakfast. I didn't even know that I should change my breakfast. And I didn't see any point in it, right? I was very unflexible. I was very stuck in my way. Also, like my home was quite chaotic. I didn't have things that much structured, and I struggled to stay organized. And this got highlighted again and again through they nagging at me, right? That's what happens in a relationship. You nag, not necessarily because you want to hurt the other person, but because your consciousness is just picking, or women's consciousness, I would say, picks up the parts where a man can improve. And that demands for the man, obviously, to be open to that. But anyway, so I felt very unflexible, and it was really hard. And but I also it started to highlight a big hurt inside of me, because I had struggled to be organized in my kind of work as well, right? And I also wanted to be able to share my gift with the world, even though I weren't ready. I still wanted it to, but I couldn't even structure my own thoughts. And there was a lot of aggression back and forth from all kinds of ways, right? But what really stuck out was that she showed me my wound that I had with my own mother. Because when I grew up, my mother, she had a very set way of being, right? You needed to be in a certain type of way. Not that the freedom was 100% limited, but I just felt that this sensitive guy that I was didn't get that freedom and that clarity, or the alone time and the acceptance that was needed. And that was a big wound inside of me against my mother. And, my mom, she she's really good at organizing. She's the one who organizes the trips, and she is the one who makes sure that things are on time, it's planned, it's set, is all of these things, right? And she is also not a lawyer, but in that type of profession, which causes you to be quite structured, and especially when you're supposed to be articulate as well. And I started to realize that I had a problem with structure and with being organized because I disliked the way my mom, or the way I perceived her, being anal about certain things. And I had to really resolve that inside of me. So what I'm saying here is, like, the shadow for me was chaos. It was very chaotic, or it was entropy, right? And it needed structure, it needed focus, it needed determination, all of those qualities that only could be given to me when I started to resolve my core wound with my mom. So my relationships with girlfriends only showed me my own relationship to my mother. And that will happen all the time. Because unless we've healed, our spirit knows that we need to do so. And it will lure us into the relationships we need, that will show us our mirror. And that's one of the key parts, and that people might not understand when they become newly awakened, right? We go into this part where we're like, oh, we're light workers, we're only of the light. So as soon as the darkness shows up in our relationships, we flee. Which means that we stay stuck in our way of being, and we're limiting our ways of expression. And we forget that our life is like a mosaic, right? A painting can only look like a beautiful expression of a painting if there are different shades and nuances and colors. Right? There needs to be darkness, because otherwise we do not even get the depth in a picture. Right? A shadow actually causes a picture to become three-dimensional. If you didn't shadow or highlight, then it would just be a blank piece of paper. The shadow brings things into life, which is very interesting when I'm now thinking of it. It's just coming as I'm speaking now into this camera. And I want you to really think of a shadow too, right? Because this part of shadow integration, it originally comes from Carl Jung. I want you to think of a shadow as there's a way, there's an expression, there's an attitude of a behavior, right? And that attitude of behavior, it is there because there's something that blocks, right? This wound that you have in front of it is causing the expression of the shadow to look in the way it does. And the moment when you start shining your light on that wound is when you start seeing the outline of the entirety of the shadow. Right? A shadow can only be there if there's something in front of the light that gets cast. And the more we really look with the light upon that wound, we will start exposing the shadow. And when we have the shadow fully exposed, like we know all these things, right? That's what inquiry is about. When we start seeing how that works, how the whole outline of the shadow is, then we will see how the whole wounding also looks. And when we start sensing that wound, because it will become more and more painful, the more we are exposing the shadow, right? Because we're exposing our own ignorance, and that's painful. But that pain holds the key to then go to the memories that those emotions, those icky emotions, reminds us of. And when we go to those memories, there's a younger part of us, and that younger part, it needed something at that time. So for me, for instance, I needed time and space and play and nurturing and a mother who held me and understood me and saw me and all of that, right? And I couldn't even I can't ask that from my parents now. It's just like, you need to do this for me so I can feel good. No, it doesn't work that way. But fortunately, we can give it to ourselves by rewiring our past experiences, right? So when you're in there, in that wound where you see how your mother used to treat you, you have your imagination. You can imagine any kind of need that you want to be fulfilled. And the funny thing is that you will start noticing how your own way of being starts shifting as you start giving your inner child what it needed at that time, because everything happens in the now, right? There is no past. As you're doing it now, you are changing the past, which means that your future will change too. And when you're changing the past, you're changing your beliefs about the situation, and your beliefs are what's causing your attitudes to look in a certain way, and your attitudes is your shadow, right? And then after a while, these beliefs are entirely changed. Then your shadow is no longer there, because the wound, which is the wound of your inner child, has been healed. That's the integration. So I needed to look at the aggression I held against my mom for being anal, or like so extremely focused on this holding things together, or structuring and making sure that things were in a certain type of way. Because when I did that, I started to heal and get access to my own ability to structure and organize things. So your present relationship are what reminds you of your relationship to your parents, your society, or anyone in your life that played a very pivotal role. And that's where you can extract the nectar. That's where you can get this. Another thing that I want you to look at is also what's called the SQ line in the gene keys. The SQ line is what stands for how you were programmed from you were 0 years, from birth to you were 7 years old. And for me, when you look at that line, I had a 6th line, which means that I need time, space, and depth. So when you understand that what need it is that you need by understanding the line in your SQ line, then you can go to your past wounding at that time and start giving that to you, and you will start noticing how a reverence and a peace and a tranquility is coming to you. So it's a hack. It's a real hack. Because if you have trouble communicating with your inner child, at least you can play around by using the gene keys to provide the need that needed to be done at that time. So look at your relationships. Look at how people are acting there. What is it that you cannot tolerate? And what does that remind you of inside of you, right? Is it maybe that way that the excess of what they are doing is, when you take away that excess, is actually a, a balanced trait, right? If someone is overly sensitive, then perhaps they, when you take that a step back, they are becoming very compassionate, aware, and nurturing, right? It's only the excess of the things we do not like, right? If you eat too much sugar, you won't feel that well. Neither will you do with salt, right? It's a whole dish. The dish needs to be balanced. And same as the mosaic needs all of these colors. So light work is about embracing everything. You're shining the light on everything, like the sun, right? The sun is just like, no, I'm not gonna shine my light right now on Russia. You know, Russia, no, they're not gonna get it. Neither will South Africa, because they suck. You know, no, the sun doesn't do that. It just shines the freaking light, right? And then people have to deal with it. Same with your awareness. Okay, guys, that's it for today's video. Please comment below what you liked about this video. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace, love, and joy to all of you. Bye for now.